Hey, what is going on, guys? It's Thompson, or Randomania11 here, and I'm bringing you the first of a new series thing that I decided to do on my channel, and that is a Pokemon Showdown, session thing, which is basically where I'll be making, maybe a team every video or whatever, and I'll be trying it out in a different tier, or whatever you guys want me to do. So it's going to be kind of a bit of an interactive thing, where you suggest a Pokemon, or a tier, or a play style, or something like that, and I'll go ahead and give it a go. And starting off, for the very first episode today, we are going to be having a look at Mega Beedrill. And currently, the way that Showdown and Smogon released all of the Megas was they've put the Megas in the same tier as what the base form was, which means that you have some really overpowered stuff in really low tiers. So Beedrill's like PU or something normally, so you're able to use Mega Beedrill all the way up from PU. So I decided to use it today in UU, because I haven't really played that tier, so I'm not exactly the best in it, but I decided to give it a shot. So, getting right into the team, we decided to go with a Mega Beedrill here. I'm running a Jolly Nature on it, just for a bit of extra speed. Max attack, max speed, as normal. With U-turn, Poison Jab, Drill Run, and Knockoff. I decided to go to not run Protect, just because, even when it's not Mega, it's got base 70 speed or something, which max invested in Jolly is enough to get the Mega off against quite a few UU Pokemon, in fact, and then U-turn out or whatever, so that I'm ready to go for the rest of the match. So that is the Beedrill Mega, and why is that not nicknamed? That was Bumblebee. So that is Bumblebee, our Mega Beedrill. Next, we've got Doggin' the Boys, our specially defensive Arcanine. Decided to run this with Will-O-Wisp just so that it acts as a bit of a mixed defensive core with our Vaporeon, which I'll show in a second. So it's running Will-O-Wisp just to get a bit of residual damage and to obviously cripple physical attackers. Flare Blitz for a nice stab. Morning Sun is unfortunately its only semi-reliable recovery move, and Extreme Speed just to revenge kill stuff if need be. With the Intimidate, just to increase our physical bulk even more when we switch in and to cripple some physical attackers if we need to sack it off. Paired up with that as a defensive core is Siren, our Vaporeon, which I am running a physically defensive set on it. Scald, Wish, Protect, Heal Bell. It's our cleric of the team. And pretty good so far. It's fairly reliable. 60 base defense isn't that much, but when paired with its 130 base HP, puts in quite a bit of work. Next up we have the Joker, the Crobat, because everyone runs Batman or Crow Batman or something on Joker on the Crobat, so I decided to run with, obviously, Batman Enemy, the Joker, just a bit of explanation for the name. With the Defog, so this is our hazard, getting rid of hazards for the team, because obviously running Mega Beedrill, we don't want anything like the Sticky Web or the Stealth Rocker when we're bringing that in all the time with the U-turn. Then the rest of the moves, just Brave Bird, U-turn, Roost, kind of a standard EV set that I just found on Smogon, just a supporting one. I don't really know what its speed EVs or attack EVs or whatever are supposed to be for, but there we go, I'm running that, just as a bit of, just as hazard support. Next up, we have a Jolly Choice Scarf, Crocodile. I decided to run Jolly Choice Scarf just as a bit of a revenge killer. I know Mega Beedrill is really fast anyway, but it has come in handy with the Moxie boosting its attack anyway. Earthquake and Knockoff just as standard stab moves, and then Stone Edge and Superpower just for a bit of coverage. Not much really to say about that, but I needed something to cover an electric weakness, and that seemed to fit the team pretty well, also allowing me to switch into psychic type moves. Finally up, we have Salad Babe, the Celebi. Specially defensive set on this, just to pair it up with the Arcanine and the Vaporeon as a Grass Water Fire core, which is a pretty decent type range coverage, whatever. Recover, Giga Drain, just sort of reliable stab and recovery and everything. Then I've got Baton Pass on it, because Baton Pass does in fact allow me to bypass the Pursuit, so I can't get Pursuit trapped. And then the final move is Thunder Wave, just to cripple some of the fastest switch-ins to Celebi and stuff. So with that said, that is the team, and let's go ahead and see if we can find a battle. So there we go, we got one against Gooey Goomy. I did kind of ladder up a bit. I think we're sitting mid 1100s, which isn't high, but should be high enough that we aren't getting complete noobs for the battle. I'm not saying that I'm the best battler, but anyway, we'll see what we can do here. So, this man's got a very offensive team by the looks of things. Slow offense is what I'm kind of getting from it, and probably going to be a lead Azelf there. So, knowing that, what will we go for? I don't really want anything to be blown up on, but I think our Steve Owen, our Crocodile Hunter, will be our best lead. As he decides to lead with the Porygon Z, I guess this is a perfect opportunity for us to just go for the Choice Scarf superpower, taking it out on the first hit. So I'm enjoying that coverage already, so taking out a massive threat, because if that was like Choice Specs Porygon Z, then it absolutely runs through my team. As he decides to bring in his Ryback, the Blastoise, I'm assuming this is Mega Blastoise just because it's his only potential Mega. And there we go, it is Mega Blastoise, and because we are running Water Absorb on our Vaporeon, we are going to be able to take that, no problem whatsoever. As he goes for Dragon Pulse the next turn, doing quite a bit of damage, as we end up getting the first turn burn on the Blastoise, so that is a bit unfortunate for my opponent, first turn burn. Not really the greatest thing in the world, but we will just go for the Protect, go for Wish and Protect on this turn, just to get it back up to a decent amount of HP. And now Blastoise is down to around half. I think we should be able to safely bring in our Celebi, as he decides to bring in his Goodra. So, I don't think Goodra will be able to do a hell of a lot to us, so we'll just go for the Thunder Wave, and he ends up getting first turn power. So really unfortunate hacks for my opponent. As this turn, what do we have for a Goodra? Well, there we go, looks like they just left. So, we'll see if they do end up reconnecting, but if not, then we'll go on to the next battle. So there we go, that person did end up not coming back, so we won that one, and we are only just over 100, so a bit lower than what I said. But anyway, this is all a learning thing, and getting up the ladder and whatever. So, getting into our second battle here, and this person's running a Tornadus. One of the things about this team, it doesn't deal too well with flying type Pokemon, so Tornadus is a bit of an issue. In addition, he's probably running what I would assume would be Mega Sharpedo, so that may be an issue. But I'm thinking probably going to be leading off with the Mega Flygon first turn, so probably going to be safe for us to just lead off with our Vaporeon, as they in fact lead off with Tornadus, so probably going to go for the Taunt on the first turn, just as we can get off a bit of damage with the Scald, when in fact he does go for the U-turn, so not a lot on his team wants to be taking a Scald, and if we can get a burn off on this Sharpedo, we unfortunately don't, but that would have been very good. Don't know why he switched in Sharpedo, because Sharpedo is really frail. Anyway, as he decides to go for the Protect, obviously wants to get a speed boost up before going for the Mega. But even if he does Mega, I don't think his Strong Jaw Crunch will be able to one-shot us. So, we'll just see what he decides to go for here. And he does, in fact, end up being the Mega, doing almost half with a Crunch, as we do get the burn with the Scald. It was a risk he wanted to take with us leaving it in. I think we should just be able to go for a Wish on this turn. Do a bit of Wish Protect stalling, as he will eventually die to the burn, which is a bit of a waste of his Mega so early on in the battle, if you ask me. So Vaporeon putting in work against this Mega Sharpedo already. And Crunch, Protect, and will it die to the burn? Yes, it will. So, doing absolutely nothing to our team with the Mega Sharpedo. And what's he going to decide to do next? If he brings in the Nidoking and it has Thunderbolt, then that could prove to be an issue. He does decide to go into Fortress, probably going to try and set up some spikes or something. There we go, going for the Toxic Spikes. Not that big of a deal because we do have Beedrill and our Defog Crobat to get rid of them. So, has my opponent not seen that or something? Like, there's not that big of a deal with us just continuously going for the score. Getting the crit there on the Tornadus. Bit unfortunate for my opponent as he goes for the knockoff. Getting rid of our leftovers, but we do end up taking it out with the second Scald there. So that Scald was doing, what, about 40%? Just over 40%. So I guess that crit did matter as he goes for the U-turn. Our Vaporeon's putting work against Command's team. And he brings in the Fortress. We get the burn. I mean, we're just spamming Scald at this point, so it's not like he can really complain. I guess it is turn 10. Oh, we should have gotten about, 3 burns or something at this point. But we will just go for another Scald here, hitting this Fortress up for whatever damage we can. Probably lulling him into a false sense of security that we will go for Protect this turn. And no, he just decides to forfeit. So, there we go. 2 battles for 2 so far, and both of my opponents have ended up forfeiting. So here we go for our 3rd battle so far. We've had 3, and let's see. Probably going to be the Mega Aerodactyl. Or Lead. Because they could have Mega Swampert or Mega Sableye. Because, like I said, they are both allowed in the tier. Which means our lead is probably going to be... I'm thinking just Steve Irwin, because we will be able to knock off and take whatever this Aerodactyl wants to go for. Knockoff does decentish work against his team, in fact. And it turns out to be a Mega Aerodactyl on the first turn, as he goes for the Stealth Rock. Right. Having seen that, probably going to be best to switch out into our Vaporeon, as he goes for the Roost there. So, this Vaporeon's probably going to just be bait for him bringing in Roserade. So, and there we go, he does end up bringing in Roserade. Does quite a bit of damage, but it is Black Sludge, or Leftovers, running Leftovers on. But this should be opportunity for us to bring in our Crobat, and do we need to get the defog off at the moment? Probably. Probably best if we do. As early on in the game as we can. As he goes for the Giga Drain. Doing 10% health, but not that big of a deal. We'll just go for the defog again. And getting the evasion drop on the Jirachi, not that big of a deal. As we can now just go for the U-turn, I'd say. U-turn out into whatever we want. If it is a Choice Scarf Jirachi, then we will see what he wants to lock himself into. But we end up getting a crit there, and what's he going to go for? I think we can get a safe switch now into our Dog and the Boys, as he goes for the Psyshock. So it is, in fact, a special Jirachi. Very interesting. Anyway, should be pretty safe to go for the Will-O-Wisp here. Getting the Will-O-Wisp off on the Mega Aerodactyl, that will be very useful for eventually bringing that down. Of course, halving its attack will also help dramatically as he decides to get up the Stealth Rocks once again. As this turn we'll just go straight for the Scald, because we made the switch into this before, and bring in the Roserade. Now what? We'll try switching into our Celebi, as he decides to just go for the Sludge Bomb, doing a lot of damage there. So, I'm thinking from the amount of damage that it took from Scald, and I mean, like, Roserade has good defense and everything, I'm thinking that's maybe an offensive Roserade, and is just running Leftovers on it because why not? So that did 27% to our Crobat. We will just be able to get the Roost off as he decides to bring in the Swampert. So wonder what he's going to decide to do. We will just go for the default once again and then go from here, seeing what he wants to do. He gets a crit with a Waterfall. That is very unfortunate. So crit did 69, so that will be doing what? Probably 46 HP-ish? Sorry, 46%, so we'll just go for that. And yeah, back up to 33. We will now just go for a U-turn. If he is going to continue to go for the Waterfall, we can switch into our Vaporeon. Completely immune to that from the Water Absorb, and now what's he going to do? Probably going to go into the Roserade, is my best guess. There we go, he does switch out, and we do predict that going into our Arcanine. Now this is just a free opportunity for us to go for the Flare Blitz, doing decent-ish damage there, I guess, against the Infernape, and now it's basically a free switch into our Vaporeon as he goes for the Earthquake. We did pull the double switch out last turn into Roserade. Is he going to predict that once again? I think it's probably just safest if we go for the Scald. There we go, as he brings in Jirachi. Not bad. And now what? Ooh, Showdown, why are you like? There we go. So just going to go into Salad Babe, once again. I think should be able to deal with whatever this Jirachi wants to go for as we eat up that Grass Knot. Very nice. And we'll go ahead and just go for the Recover here as we get up to a decent amount of health once again. And now I think it's the perfect opportunity to just go for a Thunder Wave as we manage to catch that Roserade on the switch in. Probably a natural cure Roserade. At this point, I mean, most offensive Roserades tend to run Technician with Life Orb, but we've seen that it doesn't have Life Orb, so we'll go ahead and hit it up with the Flare Blitz and see how we go from there. So it brings in Swampert, right? As once again we can probably go out into our Salad Babe and eating that up. Wonder why he's still going for the Waterfall when he's seen that we have the Vaporeon. So he brings in Sableye. Sableye, don't know what Sableye going to go for. Going to go for the Taunt, so we can't Baton Pass out of there that turn. And it's not Mega Sableye, and it doesn't have leftovers, so probably going to end up going for the Recovery this turn, as we can switch into our Dog and the Boys, and just what? If it's going to go for Taunt, once again, we can hit it up with the Flare Blitz, doing a lot of damage. Wow. That's very good damage to the Sableye, as it's going to try and stall us out with the Recover, but I don't know, we will put him in a position where our Taunt will run out, and he's going to need to decide whether he wants to lose the Sableye or taunt us once again, and here we are. Probably better for us if we get rid of the Sableye just so that it can't Prankster Will-O-Wisp our Mega Beedrill at any point, because that is one of the things stopping us from being able to freely switch in, as he decides to bring in his Mega Aerodactyl. Siren was able to eat these hits up before, so should be able to go into this as now what? Still says Roserade's paralyzed, but I think it does that regardless of whether or not it's got Natural Cure. So, I don't know, I think we can go into our Steve-O, and that was a bad switch for us. Let's see. Go back into Salad Babe, as he goes for the Brick Break, right. So, not seeing leftovers on that Swampert, so really got me wondering what moveset he is. And this Roserade isn't natural cure. Right. So, must be an offensive Roserade, unless it's like running Poison Point for some reason. But we will Baton Pass out of there, go into our Crobat, because we will be able to survive, or not, because it gets a crit. But that will be a perfect opportunity for us to now bring in our Mega Beedrill, get the Mega off, and just U-turn out of here, I think. So, we'll see how this goes, because it is paralyzed, there's no chance of it outspeeding us before he decides to bring in his Infernape. We do get the U-turn off, it is resisted, but not that big of a deal at this point in time, as we can now just bring in our Vaporeon and probably hit it up with a Scald, as he brings back in the Roserade. Right, so... Celebi was our switch into this last time. No, it wasn't. Not when it goes for bloody Sludge Bombs. And that did 64, so we won't be able to take another one. And into what? Maybe our Steve Irwin? Yeah, we'll go into this. Threaten it out with whatever we want. We would have been able to resist the Sludge Bomb, so power maybe not being too critical there. And we do have Wish anyway, so switching into Swampert, we are able to going to be able to get a hit off on it with the knockoff, and now once again we can bring in Celebi and eat up that waterfall. Not as well as what I'm hoping, but it will be a free opportunity for us to get off the recover here. And he just keeps on switching in this Roserade. If we could get some big damage off on it with, I don't know, like our Bumblebee, that would be very nice. But we'll switch out into Steve Irwin once again, eating up that Sludge Bomb. No poison for us, and can we hit it up with the Earthquake? Yes, we can. Doing a lot of damage, but it turns out that it does carry the Giga Drain. Right. We are slowly weakening his team, and he doesn't have much that he wants to now switch into this. So we'll go for the U-turn once again. Bring this Infernape down into, what, Blaze range or something? If he's carrying Blaze. But we will be able to revenge kill him with the Extreme Speed if need be. So, go for the Extreme Speed this turn, seeing what he decides to do. So, finally taking out that Infernape. He brings in the Aerodactyl. Safe switch into our Vaporeon here. As after that, he's probably going to go out into Roserade. Goes for Crunch, not doing anything to us. Getting the defense drop, which is a shame. But yeah, we'll predict him to switch out into Roserade. Making that play too many times now. It's kind of very easily predictable. And what's his play going to be? We'll just go for the U-turn, taking out that Roserade at last. Which means our Siren here should be able to put in decent work against the rest of his team. Probably an opportunity for him to bring in Sableye if he wanted to, and get up the recover, but no, he just brings in Jirachi. We're able to take that Grass Knot, get a burn off it on the first turn, which probably is a bit annoying for him. But Dog and the boys should be able to eat up whatever hit he wants to go for. Except for the Psyshock once again, quite a bit of a pain, but now he is down to a very low amount of health. As we end up sacking off Dog and the boys, we can safely now bring in our Bumblebee and, hit it up with the Drill Run, I guess. So, finally managed to break through his team with that prediction against the Roserade. Sableye comes in. We don't want this to get a burn on our Bumblebee, so we will just switch out into our Siren as he actually goes for the recover. Great. So we eventually get a burn, which we're going to do last as he decides to burn us instead, and doing around 30% of the result. if we get that, something that's basically, and it's very shallow, it's very similar. Still not got any burn here, so it's like a cover, his hand, so very interesting, I'd say. And similar. Still pinned down, so it's like 40 by there, and now it's going to go 40 from the goal, so, and the bonus half damage means that like, he's actually sold after. So he seems to go, so it's a bit like a stabilize life in, well, probably not that, getting under it. This one's always like, level, and things depending on how it goes, yeah, so. So there we go, he did end up switching out into his Swampert, obviously not wanting to take any more hits with his Sableye. We do get a crit first turn with the Scald there. So, finally breaking through his team, decides to bring back in Sableye. We're down to 8 Scalds. We are no longer burnt. We'll just go straight ahead and go for the Protect, just to stall him out a bit. Going for the Will-O-Wisp. And at this point, if he goes for the Taunt, no, he does end up forfeiting. So that's probably going to be today's session, guys. I hope you guys all enjoyed it. This is something new that I'm bringing to the channel, and if you did all enjoy it, then make sure you let me know. Leave a like if you did, leave a comment with any suggestions or recommendations, or if you want to see me use a particular Pokemon or play in a particular tier or something. I am up to doing other metagames of the month. I always think they're fairly fun and everything. So, if you did enjoy, let me know, and I hope to see you all later with whatever I decide to bring out next. I do kind of have a plan for a weekly upload schedule, so it will be regular stuff every week. So I hope to see you guys all later, and I hope you enjoy.